Hi, this is Greg Johnson with Blue Book Services. I'm joined today by Mary Coppola, who's Vice President of Marketing and Communications with United Fresh. And Mary is going to talk about the brand new live virtual United Fresh 2020, which starts next week. Mary, I think one of the first questions people will have is, how is this experience going to be?
Greg, thank you for having me today. We're just days away from the first virtual event hosted in the fresh produce industry. The United Fresh team is so excited to be bringing our community around the globe together on this digital platform. And I know there's a lot of questions of what's it going to look like and how do I start participating? And let me assure you that logging on is just like having a conversation in a LinkedIn or any other digital platform. There's chat features, there's messaging features. The nice part is there's some anonymity on the site. So although you'll know that you're talking to me or I'm talking to Greg, your email is secure, your phone number is secure, and you get to share the details that you want to share. So getting in on June 15th is going to be exciting. We'll all go through the quote unquote lobby, just like an in-person event. And that's where you'll start. You'll be able to navigate through the platform into the expo hall, into the education, networking sessions, and into your My Profile where you can interact with anybody, any user on the platform.
To my knowledge, this is the first kind of virtual trade show in the produce industry. What kind of experience have you had looking into how these have worked in other industries before you start yours?
Yeah, it is the first for the fresh produce industry, which we're most excited about. But even in other industries, the platform that we chose to go with, so our tech provider, is more familiar with hosting corporate events. So Amazon is one of their clients who we looked at their platform before making this decision. And so we're really kind of leading the charge here from a trade association perspective. A lot of our peers in Washington, D.C., where we're headquartered, have been keeping an eye on what we're doing and learning from what we're doing as they plan for their own industries as well. So it's very much an unknown, and we're really excited to be leading the charge.
If you could explain to me and our viewers, what would be an interaction where if I as an attendee would go in and try to communicate with an exhibitor, what would that look and feel like?
Sure. There are multiple ways to get into an exhibitor's booth. So again, as we enter through the lobby, there's one big button in the dead center of the lobby that says Expo. That's going to bring you right into what we call the Expo landing page. There are over 20 halls across our Expo. They have about 20 exhibitors in them each. So you will be able to navigate alphabetically. You'll be able to navigate based on categories. So those are the click-through options of getting into halls. But there's also a very robust search function across the platform, and that's going to be the quickest way to get to a specific company that you're looking for, or even a category that you're looking for. So if you search a company's name, Blue Book Services, for example, you'll get into the Blue Book booth directly. If you search a commodity, so strawberries, there'll be a listing of exhibitors who are all offering strawberries or have that assigned as one of their search terms, and you'll be able to navigate through the many different exhibitors offering that commodity. And then one last way that you'll be able to navigate is once you're in a booth. So if I go into the Blue Book booth, I can toggle left or right alphabetically into the next booth down the hall, if you will. So it'll be just like walking down a hallway in an expo floor. We're just going to do it digitally. So that's at least 4 different ways of getting into different folks' exhibitor booths.
And then once you're in, are you talking face to face with someone? Are you in a chat room? How would that work?
So once you're in, there's a couple different ways to speak to people. The booth staff will have access to see who is a guest in their booth, so they can greet you once you enter the booth. Or as somebody visiting the booth, I can see who is staffing the booth, and I can click on their name and start a chat with them directly. We've also encouraged all of our exhibitors to have an open chat hosted within their booth. So that's more of a general conversation, welcoming folks to the booth and announcing the different aspects that they're featuring within the day within their booth.
Okay. Well, what kind of feedback have you gotten as we lead up to this, both from potential attendees and exhibitors?
So yesterday we hosted an exhibitor open house to allow those exhibitors to get in and start testing some of these connectivity and conversation features. And really, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. They're encouraged to see how it works. They're looking forward to hosting the attendees next week. And then on the attendee side, we've been doing a lot of screen shares and getting people comfortable with submitting their staff lists and letting us know who they're suggesting attends the event. So that's been kind of a bigger piece of this whole conversation. When we were an in-person event, as you know, there's a lot of cost associated with that. There's flights, there's travel, there's time out of the office. And once you transition to a virtual platform, you remove a lot of those barriers. A lot more attendee companies are able to encourage their employees to attend because there is no cost associated. And there's a lot more offered in terms of content on this platform than they've experienced through a relationship with United Fresh in the past. So for example, we'll use a couple of the retailers that generally come. You'll see, a handful to a dozen on the show floor from one company. Well, now we're talking about 20 and 30, and we're talking about commodity buyers, operations, decisions makers, because they all have access to sitting in front of their computer and logging in. So that's been really encouraging to hear that they're invested in the time and the effort to participate in this platform, and they're really looking forward to it.
Is there a way for exhibitors, like they would be on a trade show floor, to attract attendees?
Absolutely. Not just through the platform, through the communications tools that we've already talked about, but even leading up to, we've encouraged anybody that's participating on the platform to talk publicly about your participation. So whether it's through social media, whether it's through other media outlets, use the hashtag UnitedFreshLive and start that conversation. The more people know that you'll be participating on the platform, the more likely they'll seek you out when we get into the event next week.
Okay, so that's like a regular expo.
Exactly.
Well, what are you most looking forward to next week?
We've encouraged the exhibitors to promote different aspects of what they're doing in their booth day to day. So in addition to all the education and networking, which is really exciting to see how it's going to work on a digital platform, we've also set aside specific expo power hours. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
And we've encouraged folks in their booths to host specific events during those hours. So that's going to be 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. And there's no education running in conflict to those power hours. So that really will be the time when all of that energy and excitement is happening on the virtual trade show floor. So I'm most excited to see what the exhibitors have come up with and what they plan to host in their booths during those hours.
Well, I know for me, the thing I'm going to miss most, well, one of the things for sure, is going to San Diego. What what do you see as a few things that make you nervous about this, since you don't have to deal with any of the travel expectations and conflicts?
Well, it's technology, right? And I had just shared this with a couple of the speakers we were talking this morning in preparation for next week's event. And I said, technology has married Murphy, and they are going to come together at the worst time. I think that's really everybody's fear. But it's nothing that we can't handle and we can't move past. I mean, anybody who's been on a Zoom call has had a sound interruption or other interruptions, and it's the nature of technology. But it's not going to stop us from connecting, and it's not going to stop us from having a positive experience next week. I think it's going to be a small hurdle, if anything. So I'm not losing sleep over it, and I don't recommend that anybody else lose sleep over it.
Well, I guess one advantage is most people have been getting used to more technology and working from home the last few months. So maybe this being sprung on them, they've got some experience now.
I think we're all getting very familiar with Zoom and other video technology like what you and I are doing right now. So it'll be really interesting to see how people kind of manage their environments and how they participate online. You know, we're talking about a virtual trade show, and what we're missing is that in-person experience. So the opportunity to shake your hand and see you in person, but we can have that on Zoom as long as we're all participating with our video turned on. And that's not always comfortable for everyone. Not all education is going to require seeing all attendees, but when you do, take advantage of that opportunity. That's one of the things that I would really encourage people to come into this platform with an open mind, an open video camera, and really just take advantage of what is happening as opposed to being discouraged by what's not happening.
Yeah, I think that's a good message, and it might make people nervous that they'll have to clean themselves up a little on a more regular basis, but every once in a while you got to do it.
And it's okay. The introverts also, this is a great platform for them to still gain access to all that education and not have to talk to anybody sitting next to them. But for those who do want that connectivity, there's so many opportunities. So I really think that we're seeing it's a platform for everyone. And certainly the folks that have registered in the attraction around the globe that we've gotten by hosting this event is showing us that we're going to see that level of participation.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. I will be there, as will many of my Blue Book colleagues, and we'll virtually see each other starting next week.
Great, Greg. We will see you online Monday.
All right. See you then, Mary.